My name is Siphumuzo Gama, and I am the founder and CEO of Fatherhood for Generations.
Hi, my name is Vernon Reddy. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a proud member of Fathers Fit for Generations.
It's a non-profit company that is seeking to change the narrative on fatherhood, which is also a consequence of gender-based violence.
As Fathers Fit for Generations, we stand in solidarity with the male and guardian as we observe 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
With my experience being a father, you sort of realize that you need to fill the gap in many instances. Number one, self-esteem. Number two, socialization. Number three, confidence and how to approach certain things in life. So you realize that had I not been there, if I were not to be there for my sons, you realize that there could be a lot of lingering questions. And one way or the other, those questions are going to be answered. And how they are answered is that these young boys go out there and seek these answers through friends, through gangs, because they want to form part. Everybody wants to form part and live a meaningful life and be part of something that really provides certain answers to the questions that they actually have.
The reason why I felt that I needed to be part of such an organization is that there was really a need I felt for empowering children for the lack of a fatherhood in their lives. Given the state that we find ourselves in these days with kids and unemployment and the violence and the drugs, I felt that kids really needed someone who could be a role model for them. And I felt this organization was something that was empowering men to be good fathers and to be good men.
Now, when a child is out there in the street, you must understand that they are susceptible to various forms of influences. And these might be positive and some might be negative. So absence really opens the gap to a boy understanding life and how it should be in a certain form. If we look 40 years back and look now, the causes might be somewhat different, but at the same time similar. Why do I say that? In the past 40 years back, we could say there was structural because of the apartheid system, the migrant labor system, which compelled fathers to leave their homes and go and work in the cities. And they would be given leave maybe once or twice a year. So that sort of opened the gap. And young boys had to sort of develop and grow and find meaning and answers for themselves because the fathers were not there.
Growing up as a young boy, I grew up in the townships back in Durban. And it was a very close community, but it was also a community that was run by alcohol and drugs and violence. And men in my days growing up were not the fathers that I would have liked them to be today. We had absent fathers. They were there, they put food on the table, but we never had the influence of the father that will guide us to make the right decisions.
You look at it now and you realize that to a certain degree, the behavior and the culture has sort of been adopted because boys give reference to how they have been brought up to seemingly accept that it's socially acceptable there to have that absence.
And part of the cause, or the root cause of men these days not having the right knowledge and how to take care of the women and the children is due to the fact that absent fathers play a big role in their upbringing.
And currently we are still dealing with those issues, albeit even though to varying degrees because of various social ills that exist, whether it's drug addiction and so on. So you see the effects from historically and then currently, but you can tie them.
We've been trained to teach ourselves that the men are more superior, that our masculinity is better than the woman, that the women are of a lesser sex, and that has a major role in the mind of a child growing up. Because
what happens is when boys are made to believe, and I think that this comes across not just from expectations from other men, but even women, whereby they'll say, mina ngithanda ukujola nendoda, ngifuna indoda ekhali, for example.
Our upbringing as children, it's right from the very young age, we teach young boys that they are in a position of power. We give them toys that are like guns, we give them cars, we give them things that boost their egos, we make them feel that they are strong. While women, young girls, we give them dolls to play with, and we train them for motherhood rather. So as a man, I was grown up thinking that I'm better than a woman, and that I don't have to listen to a woman and the woman has to listen to me. So taking that into my upbringing, it almost destroyed my own marriage in the beginning, because I didn't know how to treat my wife. I didn't know how to compromise with her and to see her as an equal, because as I grew up, I always thought that I was the better person.
Now, when we teach boys not to cry, we are teaching them not to express themselves, whether they've been hurt, whether they, whichever way. So, and when we do that, then they bottle up what's inside. And after bottling up what's inside, it comes out in different forms,
So in my marriage, I felt that she needed to respect me more than I needed to respect her. And that in the beginning of my marriage almost destroyed my marriage. And until I had a father figure from my church who taught me. He taught me how to value a woman. He taught me how to value children. He taught me how to respect another human being.
So firstly, I think before saying anything to teach them, to say, as a man, it is okay to cry. As a man, it's okay to express feelings. As a man, it's okay to be vulnerable, because it is from that vulnerability that you express your strength. And then in doing so, it would be to say that when it comes to women and children, it is an inherent duty upon you.
Ultimately, condition my mind to see the opposite sex as an equal, where I could respect my wife as being part of me and not treat her as a doormat. So that having that spiritual father in my life changed my marriage, and it actually saved my marriage. And
with that being said, it is also an extension of understanding of gender roles, to say when you are inside the house, there's nothing wrong with you washing the dishes. There's nothing wrong with you doing tasks that would have been associated as being a female task, because then that sort of brings about, equity between these roles.
I think the major issue in our life as men and young boys is that we are afraid to say when we are wrong. We are afraid to say when we need help.
And I think it is from that a frame of reference that we can say there is nothing fundamentally different. You need to respect a woman, a lady. She needs to respect you. So the respect is mutual.
And we're trying to empower men, to give them the skills, to give them the knowledge to be better men.